Are there any more questions? Yeah, Eric, go ahead.
I just want to say, it's not often that we see out of a community like Edmonton, somebody making stories about the most important questions and topics that face humankind. So just personally, I want to say that, two things. First, just say how, I don't know if it's insulting to Edmonton, but how not from Edmonton your work feels, in the sense that it's so universal, so important, these stories. But secondly, why do you stay here? Why do you stay in Edmonton?
Well, my wife's from Copenhagen, so it's a conversation all the time about why we stayed. But I was born here. I have family here. It's hard to do this from Edmonton. You have to go a long way to pitch your ideas. A lot of the funding that we can access here forces you to make local stories. I think it's a challenge to be working from Edmonton. At the same time, I think that it's worked for us. Well, it has worked for us to just be in a basement in Old Strathcona, coming up with a crazy idea and shooting a demo reel and cutting it and going off far away and pitching it. I mean, it's worked. You don't have to be anywhere. And the only place where it becomes a challenge is when you work with a project like EQUUS and you need so many specialized talents on the project. Then you do have to reach out beyond the borders of your city or your province. And I have done that. But I don't know, like, why does anyone stay in Edmonton? That bumper sticker still in Edmonton, right? I don't know, it just feels right.
I just want to applaud you on the courage to step outside of the local mentality. I know that the temptation for a lot of us is to, I hate to say, become prostitutes for content, but just simply fishing for what the public funding bodies are looking for versus, again, and I don't know if it's your anthropology background, making you think of the bigger questions, the bigger picture of humanity, not just Canada, not just Alberta.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to applaud you for that. As someone who, is, faced roadblocks in trying to tell international stories and have it received by local audiences, that you have kind of the boldness to tell those bigger picture stories in such a small community.
Well, thank you. I mean, you have to have the courage of your convictions as a filmmaker. You have to be a little bit stubborn. And when you're developing a story like The Great Human Odyssey about human origins, and everyone says to you, well, 15 other documentaries have been made about human origins in the last 10 years. Why are you the one to make it? To keep pushing and keep pushing. EQUUS is now, despite all the obstacles it faced in the early days, it's the film series about horses. The last one was made in 1995 by PBS called Horses. So you're going to get no, you're not the one to make that big idea film, until suddenly you are, and it's probably myth making, but in Edmonton I do think we're courageous, we're stubborn, and we believe we can pull it off. I guess the only thing is, can you afford to pay your mortgage long enough to get to that stage where your ambitious idea finally gets traction? I do recognize that one of the reasons why people do the smaller stories is because they're easier to get off the ground and you've got to make a living. And I have a ton of sympathy for that. It's taken a long time for us to get to the point where I can spend 2 years developing an idea before we go into production. But thank you. And I think that, I happen to have done it this year. Someone else will do it next year. This 10 years from now, we'll look back and there'll be so many great, ambitious projects coming out of Edmonton, I'm sure.